Okay, we know that angles in triangles will add together to equal 180 degrees. So that means, for example, A, this 38-degree angle plus this 113-degree angle plus angle A would have to add up to be equal to 180 degrees. So we can make a little equation out of that. A plus the 38 degrees plus the 113 degrees has to equal 180 degrees. Now, if we use our solving equations skills that we've learned a couple units ago, we could combine our like terms, put these two things together. So we still have our A. If we add 38 and 113, we get 151, and that has to equal 180 degrees. Now, to figure out what A is equal to, we're just going to subtract 151 degrees from the left side. That will undo this, but if I want to keep this equal or balanced, I'm going to also have to subtract 151 degrees from the other side. And when I do that, I get 29 degrees. So angle A has to equal 29 degrees. Now, if you did this in grade 8, which is likely, you probably would have done it in other little steps. You might have taken the 38 degrees and added the 113 degrees, and you would have gotten the answer of 151 degrees. And then as a next step, you probably would have taken 180 degrees and subtract 151 degrees, and that gives you the 29 degrees. So then you could say that angle A is equal to 29 degrees. And that's okay. If you prefer this kind of solution, which is what you did in grade 8, then that would be fine. When we get into some more complicated examples, though, we will need to probably use this kind of solution, as you will see later on. Okay, part B. Now, you'll notice I only have one angle given to you, but I also have given to you this kind of cool looking thing here where I've got this little line and this little line, and we know that that means that those two side lengths are equal to each other. Well, if those two sides are equal to each other, we know that the angles across from those equal sides have to equal each other as well. So that tells us this angle in this corner at this vertex would also be equal to 50 degrees. So now we know two of those angles. So if two of the angles are 50 degrees, I meant to have a letter B right here. We're going to solve for angle B. We'll call that angle B. We know that angle B plus the 50 degrees plus the other 50 degree angle have to add together to equal 180 degrees. So if I add or combine these like terms, the 50 and the 50, they will go together to make 100 degrees. And then to get B by itself, B plus a number plus 100, or B plus 100, has to equal 180. And your mathy senses should tell you that that is going to equal, the B would equal 80 degrees. To show that algebraically, we're just subtracting the 100 degrees from both sides to undo it here, which leaves us with just the B, and that gives us our 80 degrees. Or again, you could do this in steps. You could take your 50 plus your 50 degrees plus the 50 degrees, that gives us 100 degrees. So this is just an alternate solution here. And then we take our 180 degrees and subtract our 100 degrees, and that gives us our 80 degrees, so B is equal to 80 degrees. Okay, so that might be more familiar from grade 8, but this is our solving equations method that we've used. All right, moving on to our next example here. All right, so this is where our algebra is going to become important here, because I don't have any actual angle values. All I know is this angle in the bottom right corner is labeled as C. This angle is 2 times bigger than that one because it's 2C, so that means 2 times C. And the angle at the top says take the value of that bottom angle in the corner, bottom right corner, and add 40 degrees to it, and you get the top angle. So I really don't have much to go on here. So if I use my solving equation method, I know that if I add my 3 angles together, I have to equal 180 degrees. So angle C, there's my bottom right angle. Those are supposed to be brackets around that. So angle C plus, and you don't have to have these brackets, this second angle in the bottom left corner was 2C, plus the top angle is C plus 40 degrees. we know that they have to add together to be 180 degrees. All right, so this is like our polynomial equations that we were adding polynomials together earlier this semester. We can, when we're just adding, we can just rewrite this without the brackets. So I said we could start without the brackets, but I just wanted to see or to show you what the three angle values are. So we have C plus 2C plus C plus 40 degrees equals 180. So we know we can collect like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. We'll put those together. So really we have a 1C plus 2 C's plus 1 more C. So a C plus 2 more would be 3 C's plus 1 more C would be 4 C's. So altogether they equal 4 C's plus 40 degrees. And that's equal to 180 degrees. Goodness, 180 degrees. So now we want to solve our equation. I'm going to undo the plus 40 by subtracting 40 degrees from both sides to keep it balanced. That undoes this one here. Not sure why I keep doing that or how I keep doing that, but I keep moving my screen around. 180 take away 40 will be 140 degrees. Now that's what 4 C's are, but we just want 1 C. So to undo the times by 4, we're going to divide both sides of our equation by 4. And 4 divided by 4, they undo each other to make 1 C. So 4 C's divided by 4 is 1 C. And if you do 140 divided by 4, you get 35. So angle C is equal to 35 degrees. So up here, right up here, we know that angle C is equal to 35 degrees. So this angle here is 35 degrees. Now in the bottom left corner, we have 2 times angle C, or 2 times the 35 degrees. And if we take 2 groups of 35, we get 70. So this bottom corner angle on the left, this one is 70 degrees. And then at the top here, we have C plus 40 degrees. So it says take that value of angle C, which is 35, and to that 35 degrees, we're going to add 40 degrees to it, which then is equal to, those are equal signs, equal to 75 degrees. So that top angle is worth 75 degrees. So that's where our algebra can fit in with this. All right, moving on to one last here. I've actually got 3 triangles in this picture. We have a small triangle on the left. I'll just highlight that in yellow here. Here's one triangle right here. So we know the angles within that triangle have to add up to be 180 degrees. We also have a triangle on the right that we could use. And then there is the whole big triangle. The whole thing is a triangle. So we've got lots of things to work with here. I'm going to start with the small triangle on the left in the yellow that we had here. We know that the 3 angles have to add to 180 degrees. So angle D, that's this little angle in the corner here, that angle D plus, whoops, wrong one. Let's redo that, okay, and I need this to get rid of that. There we go. Plus angle in the bottom left corner is 40 degrees plus the 72 degrees. They have to add together to be 180 degrees. We can solve that. So 40 plus 72, some of you will just automatically do that as their first step. That's going to give us 112 degrees there. And then we're going to take that 180 and subtract the 112 from it. So subtract 112 degrees from both sides. That undoes this on that side. And we're left with D on the left side of the equal sign, and 112 taken away from 180 degrees gives us 68 degrees. So angle D is 68 degrees. Now, if I look at my green triangle, so this is 68 degrees here. If I look at the green triangle, there are actually 2 angles I don't know. I don't know angle E and I don't know angle F. So we need to be a little clever here about how we're going to manage this. Now, there's another theorem or formula that tells us that a straight line has 180 degrees in it. And if you think of the protractor that measures the angles, you know, that half circle thing with the spot here, and it's got all the angle rays coming out of that, we know that this whole line is 180 degrees. So if I use that fact right here, I know that D plus E would have to equal 180 degrees. Now I already know that angle D is equal to 68 degrees. So 68 degrees plus this other angle have to add together to make 180 degrees. So really my angle E is going to equal 180 degrees, subtract that 68 degrees. And really equation-wise, I'm subtracting the 68 from the left side to undo it, but I also need to subtract 68 from the right side to keep it balanced. So 180 degrees subtract 68 degrees, that's 112 degrees. Kind of matches the sum of the 42 and the 40 and the 72. That actually is another theorem. It's the exterior angle theorem. But we don't need to go into that. We can just use supplementary angles here. So we now know that this is 112 degrees here, and then we can use our green triangle from here. And we can say that angle F at the top plus the 112 degrees plus the 20 degrees has to add together to equal 180 degrees, and from there we can solve. So we add those together, we get 132, and that's equal to 180 degrees. So to figure out what F is, we're going to subtract the 132 from 180 degrees. Subtract 132 from 180 degrees. Just checking on my calculator here and make sure I don't make a mistake on the video. Angle F then would be equal to 48 degrees. So that's the angle up here at the top. So lots of problem solving in this one. Hopefully that helps, and you can go on to your assigned work.